The thing is, I'm trying to get Mrs. Nutnfancy in on this video episode of QTN, and she's not going to do it. So I got to go grab her and shove her in front of the camera. Come here. Come here. You look fine. Just show yourself so they know you're here. Say hello real quick.
Hi.
Okay, so she's really here. QTN, let's jump into it. Overlooking the strip, by the way. We are in the Bellagio this episode. We came down for car racing, and you'll see those videos post sometime between the A and B channel. I'm thinking mostly A channel. We'll see what happens. First up is going to be Carson. He's age 14, and he has some questions on ISIS. Carson, age 14, writes, "Hi, this is Carson here. I love the videos you make and wanted to thank you for your info on guns. I love your lengthy videos, and you are a big difference on the guns my dad and I want to purchase." They're not that lengthy anymore, actually. I'm very efficient in my reviewing process, cutting out stuff like long discussions of philosophy of use. If it's been said before in other videos, I won't put it in every video these days. I'll go into Google Analytics, I'll see where the viewership drops off, and I was putting out, what I've always called feature-length videos, like 50-minute videos, and I'm finding that, a lot of guys aren't even sticking with it that long, so why put in the work? So I'm compressing it down, get the information much more efficient, and trying to match the viewer interest. Finally doing that. By the way, we just woke up. We were up late, and I'm tired. But on goes the show. I'm only 14. He says I'm only 14, but I have a question. What is your view on ISIS situation? Keep up the good work. And can you purchase those owl patches on your website? Thanks for everything you do. Excuse my handwriting, not much of a letter writer. Favorite quote: I want to live a life that I look back on when I can't live it anymore and go, oh yeah, I did it right. Wow, this guy's been paying attention. Words of Nutnfancy. QTN, I hate being a Marine. Where do I go next? So this is his letter, super quick. I don't know how long the video will go. This one won't be 20 minutes because there's a lot of information to cover. What's my feeling on ISIS? It's very hard to eradicate. That's my feeling on ISIS. ISIS is not a single enemy in a central location. It's spread, as you guys know, like an infection through the whole world, actually. I'm not the expert. I think the best thing we can do as a country is hang together, basically what we're not doing now, and get back to our roots, our morality. Our morality is a protection against ISIS, I believe, and I think that would go a long ways towards defusing their effectiveness. As the American people, I think we should have resolve if it gets ugly. In fact, if we find a place later on where there is a strategic location of ISIS fighters, which we've tried to do in the past with various levels of success, we have to be ready as a people to take those actions and maybe go to war. Maybe it's a limited engagement war, maybe it's a major scale war. I hope it never comes to that. But it's not simple. Because what you're talking about is the influencing of a lot of minds against America in general. In my opinion, a lot of these factions cannot be reasoned with. You can't say, hey, we're America, we've done this, we've spent billions and billions of aid trying to help other people. They don't care. They look at it as our way of life is corrupt and it should be eradicated by whatever means necessary. That's a big question. I don't know if I'm the best one to answer it, but those are my initial thoughts on it. Next up, we've got Sean in Utah. I think he's in Utah. He's going to write about motorcycles, jungle survival kit, and how is everyone. I hope I didn't read this one already, and he wrote a while back, but what the heck, I'll rip through it. Over the years, going back to the beginning of the project, to the days when you were deployed, and local motorcycle traffic would drown out the audio. That was when I was in Turkey with the Air Force. That's pretty good, Sean. You've gone back a ways. I've gotten a great deal of enjoyment and honest information from your videos. I've also developed a greater love of outdoors through your adventures. The more I see of Utah in your vids, the more I want to move out there. It's so funny. Mrs. Nutnfancy and I covered this in the last episode of QTN when we were in the Zodiac, and guys are like, I got to come to Utah. We talked about it, so go look in that video. There's lots of great places to live. We just have to we just so happen to spend the preponderance of our time in Utah. It's cool. All the western states are pretty excellent. We're in Nevada right now. You've also been very generous with the inclusion of TMP souvenirs and gear when I've made purchases and donations, and I've really appreciated and enjoyed receiving them. We've mentioned that before. If a guy orders multiple things, Tactical Doodle tries to put in something a little bit extra. I like delivering a lot of value to my customers. Whether it's you watching a free video product, I want to give you a lot of value and say, yeah, that was worth my time. Or if you've gone to our web store and bought some things, I want to give you value there too. Now, a complaint we do get, and I'll handle that here, is, hey, you're out of stuff. You know, I go to the web store to order the patches and the stickers. Trust me, I've been on Doodle about that, and I say, listen, you need to stock the store. And he comes back and goes, well, the vendors we're using, they're cyclical. And so sometimes they're very reliable, and sometimes they're not. So excuses, right? So I'm almost to the point now, if you don't see an annotation for the web store on a video, then it means I'm kind of throttling back because either I don't know what stock is, because Doodle runs that whole site, I know. And I'm not going to push it, and then I get the word out that, hey, we got good stock, and then I'll push it and say, hey, by the way, we got stickers. And he's got new stuff coming out too, so always click to Nutnfancy Bit Cartel just every once in a while and see what's going on. You may be amazed what you see there. And these days we don't make specific videos for it because we find we don't have to. If I just mention it organically in the video product, the word gets out enough. As a little thank you for all you do, for all you've done for your viewers in our country, as a civilian during the Air Force Reserve. Yep, for the extras you sent my way, I'm sending you a few things you might like. I lost them. I forgot what they were. Oh, here it is. I picked up a handful of... I say that because I do get a lot of trinkets and it's hard to keep track of it. I picked up a handful of Kershaw Skyline Damascus version knives from Blade HQ not long ago. This is in 2014. Sorry it took me so long to get your letter, dude. I do remember that, and we still have that. It's a Damascus Skyline. It's really cool. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, that's a collectible. That's super cool. Don't send me anything, though. Standard policy. Got a couple for myself, one for you. Skyline is probably one of my favorite knives, even though it lacks a number of things. Great many knives like jimping for them, but there's something fun, practical, and usable about it. And then he talks about some other stuff. All the best to your family, Allie, Mountain Dog. Looks like suspect is mending well. This is after his motorcycle crash, and I pray for his quick and full recovery. While it's admittedly a bit of self-sentiment, I wish you many more years of outdoor adventures, knifing gear, gun testing. Oh, I lied. That's not Sean. That's James Kemper. James Kemper in Texas sent me the Skyline. I'm glad I caught it. And number 3 is coming up now. Sean, I had him reversed. So sorry. I thoroughly enjoyed your Behind the Enemy's Lines Afghans kit. That's called Pilot Egress Kit, I think, something along those lines. I talked about what I flew with and then what I would like to fly with if I know that I'm going to get shot down behind enemy lines. No joke. And how I would get back to safety. Imagine yourself in the South Pacific. What items would you bring knowing you have a high probability of ditching in salt water and having to hack through a hot, humid jungle in order to find friendlies? My iPhone with extra batteries. Did you like that one, Mrs. Nutnfancy? Yeah. I'm kidding. What would I do? Well, I'd take a lot of rust-proof steel with me, so probably something that could withstand the rust of the jungle, maybe a stainless steel large survival knife, signaling devices of all kinds. In a modern day, we can't pretend that, hey, you know, it's Robinson Crusoe is what I was thinking, where we go to the island, we're out there to live. We want to get rescued. We want to get off that island, right? I mean, if you want to go on a vacation to a tropical paradise, do that separately. But some guys kind of romanticize that you don't live in a modern world. I did say iPhone, and maybe that's not such a joke. I'd have a way to communicate. Number 1, I'd have a signal mirror. I'd have several smoke creation devices where I could signal any passing ship. I'd build a fire, several fires, signal fires ready to torch off. I keep them as dry as possible. I would like to have maybe a little thing of lighter fluid for that. A little can of lighter fluid. That'd be a great way to do a bunch of things, but that'd be one of them. Set a signal. The SOS messenger services, whether you have a beacon or a spot messenger, something like that, they can work out that far. I totally get that. A level 2 plus, at least a level 1 plus first aid kit. And then rain gear. and a big old tarp to catch water and to create a rain catch thing with. I got to press on, but a lot more to that. It's an interesting question. In regards to Utah outback biking, have you ever considered Ural or Christina motorcycles? By the way, you can get a Ural with a factory AK-47 RPK mount just in case. I would never buy those. They're very basic, they're crude, and the KTM does absolutely everything I want it to do. It's fast on the road, it's fast in the desert, the suspension is amazing, so far reliable. Yep, we still have two 1190s we run on the project to help test. Hope the family, Allie included, is doing well, especially Suspect. Hoping he's on the mend. How much we've enjoyed the multi-part videos like Concept USK, Jeremiah Johnson, Llama Trek, taking the scouts out in the wilderness, Air Force stories, lessons from Papa Fancy, and BSing with friends on the bikes. How is everybody? I think I've updated in past QTNs where everybody's at. It's kind of sad and interesting how everyone kind of drops to the wayside. I won't mention the name of the crew member. We had a crew member that was early on in the project, and he came back, and we wanted to go shoot with him and use him again in the videos, really, and it just didn't work out. He put on a lot of weight. Just be honest with you, it was a lot of weight, and I think he was super self-conscious about coming on the video again. And I said, don't worry about it, dude. Just come on out. Viewers love you, and he wouldn't do it. So, and also he got married, and his wife was, again, honesty, super controlling. So we'd set up a meeting, and then she'd be calling, what are you doing? You need to get back here. And it was over, and it's sad. So I give you some more heartbreak stories, but the project goes on. The core of the project is my own immediate family. Myself, Mrs. Nutnfancy, Tactical Doodle, Last Suspect. You may have people come and go, but that you can count on through the years. We will be consistent through the years. This is EDC from some dude. This is another Sean. Maybe it's the same Sean in... Yeah, it is Sean in Utah. Come to Prisco, Texas, and gear check me. This is what he's got. Check it out. Nice. Cold steel. Oh, nice. It's got a Spyderco police there too. Can't really tell which multi-tool. That might be a wave. It kind of looks like a wave. Next up, this is easily going to go an hour probably. Stephen Abner. How to deal with ass kissers at work. And Miss Nutnfancy, you have ideas, sing out from the back of the room, okay? She's actually here. This isn't like computer generated. Come in front of the camera too, they want to see you. Dude, my name is Steven. I live in the Bluegrass State. I've been an automotive technician for 6 years. I enjoy the work and what I do. However, recently my boss and his ass-kissing sidekick has been making me dread going into work. So he's writing, just in case you think I'm making it up. One of my coworkers got hired around me at the same time and has brown-nosed his way into $7 more on the hour. He doesn't have any certifications. He writes up cars for stuff that is absolutely unnecessary. I have to fix his comebacks because he can't seem to fix it right the first time. I bet a lot of you are agreeing with what he's saying. It's like, yep, my work's the same way. This professional ass kisser transferred out of my state and then quit entirely. He's such a swindling shyster that my boss gave him his job back plus a raise. What? He leaves 3 hours early every day and we have the same schedule. This guy's a pathological liar and he's always right. I swear he's the first man to walk on the moon. So he's a one-upper, right? This is Steven. I hear you. I could go on, but I won't. I know it sounds as though I'm jealous, but I've worked extremely hard to get where I am, and it irritates me that someone so shady and underhanded can sweet-talk their way through life. How do you deal with ass-kissing, brown-nosing, backstabbing coworkers, and a passive-aggressive boss that rewards this kind of behavior? Please help. I feel trapped. Can you give me some advice? Stephen D. Amber wrote that question. I'll take you back to when I was going through ROTC in the university. And I was not a brown-noser. I would go past the professor of aerospace science, who is the commander of the ROTC detachment, the very one who determines whether you get a pilot slot, the very one who determines your rank ordering to whether you go to pilot training or don't. When I came out of when I came out of college with my degree early in the 90s, it was very competitive to get a pilot slot. That's what it was called. So you go to U.S. Air Force pilot, U.S. Air Force UPT, undergraduate pilot training. You go to T-37s at the time. then you'll graduate into T-38 Talon, supersonic jets, and then you get assigned your plane, depending what's out there. But they didn't have a lot of cockpits open, so it was very competitive to get a pilot slot in my day. I may have said this in Air Force Stories. But I didn't brown nose. And I'd go by the office and I'd see these other cadets hanging out with this boss guy, PAS as he was called, just ass kissing like you're saying, laughing at all his jokes, always hanging in there, getting to know his family, bringing him stuff to eat, treats. Meanwhile, I'm working hard at Arnold Air Society. I'm honor guard commander. I'm doing my studies. I'm married to Mrs. Nutnfancy, right? Yeah. And I was like, well, first off, that's not me. That's not me. So here's my approach to what I did, and it seems to have served me well throughout life. I was like, I will never brown nose. I'm never going to kiss up to anything for any special favors. Here's what I will do is I will be excellent at my job. That I will be unassailable in my expertise in my job. Trying to be the absolute best I can be, and if in the case of competing for a pilot slot, I want to be better than the others because I'm competing. So I threw myself to my studies. I graduated with like an A- GPA overall through a very hard and heavy caseload of studies. I smoked being honor guard commander. I was good in Arnold Air Society, which I thought was a waste of time and dumb, but I knew it would add to my resume. And I knew it would make me more competitive to get what I wanted at the time as a regular commission as an Air Force officer. That's what I did. I got regular commission and I got ranked. What was it, hon? I forget.
I don't know.
It wasn't like at the top because the PAS hated me because I never interfaced with him. I'm always working. But I got ranked within the top 4 of cadets because he didn't have a choice. Because if someone came over his shoulder and was like, hey, why did you rank this Nutnfancy dude so low? His numbers are so good. He'd have to answer for that. That's a truth throughout all occupations. So if someone's really good at their job, they're just going to rise to the level. Would you agree, hon? Mm-hmm. They will. If you can't hear her, she's like, uh-huh. That's what will happen. And I did that through pilot training. I didn't brown nose with the flight instructors or the flight commanders and pilot training. I was just trying to do the absolute best job I could. And almost always it will work out into your benefit if you do that. Now, something I would like to warn you about, Stephen, I think it was, is don't get bitter about people who don't do that because it will derail your energy, it will derail your positivity for you. Part of you being really good at your job is being super positive and non-vindictive. Because vindictiveness leads to a negativity that other people can perceive and they don't like it. And they don't want to be around you and it doesn't weigh in your favor. Like, I know this guy's an idiot, that you don't like him, that he's wormed his way out and then wormed his way back. He's getting all the special favors. Who knows why that is? Maybe he likes the same things that your boss likes, or more likely, he's pretending to like the same things your boss likes, right? That's frequent. You'll see that everywhere. Be really good at your job, and it sounds like as a mechanic you are, and then be super positive, and don't be afraid to communicate as well. And this is what I would do. This is what I'm going to assume, that I'm really good at my job. I'm an awesome mechanic, like you indicate that you are. I'm an honest mechanic. And go back to other previous episodes of QTN. What do I talk about? That you make money for that dude. How do you make money? Well, you're good with customers. People love you, but you make money for him because you have repeat business. People know you by name. You're building your own clientele, and that's how it works as a mechanic. Hey, Steven helped me out with my car, man. I want to use Steven again. Is Steven working here? Increase your value is what I'm telling you. Increase your value to that guy. And if he can't see that you're bringing money into him, that you have clientele, and that you're an effective mechanic for him, then it's time to look elsewhere. Don't, I've said in previous episodes, don't cut your strings until you swing to the next vine. And that would be another place of business that you think you can be appreciated for your level of expertise. You should have a very strong resume. Don't burn bridges with anyone, even the boss you do not care for. Be super professional and be honest. I said communicate. After I've built my clientele, I have value, I say, listen, I like working here. It's fun. However, I don't think that I'm being appreciated to the level of value, use that word, value I bring to your business. Or if he's a manager, to this business, wherever it is. And have some have some ammo to show what you're talking about. Like I have, a list of clientele. They love me. They ask for me by name. I have a good reputation. So what I'm asking is that my level of pay comes up to where I think I'm valued equal to other people who work here, because right now it's not, and that I'm appreciated. If not, I may have to look for opportunities elsewhere. That's communicating. Before I would say that last sentence, or I may have to look for opportunities elsewhere, I would already have those opportunities lined up. Yes or no, Mrs. Nutnfancy?
Yes.
Have them lined up. Because if he calls your bluff, say, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I hope you can give me a good recommendation. But I'm going to put in my 2 weeks at this point and punch. Don't feel like you're stuck anywhere. You're not stuck anywhere. A good worker who is valuable, who does awesome levels of work, all the things I've talked about over the years, very valuable. So that was a good question. We're making slow progress. Next up is Jessica, Jessica Cunningham. She's one of our female team peers. Sir Nutton, dude, she writes, I've been a TMPer since October 2011 due to my family's lack of preparedness during Hurricane Irene. A year later on the coast of Long Island, though my house was wrecked and experienced WROL, my USKA Level 2 first aid kit saved myself, my mom, my 90-year-old grandfather, and a dog from injury during Hurricane Sandy. Awesome. I had the mental preparedness, gear, education because of quality videos you crank out. Now I work at a local hospital providing clerical work to a stroke unit, doing my small part to help the community. I'm also studying to become an American Sign Language interpreter. That is cool, isn't it? Come here, Miss Nutton. Is that cool? Are you coming over or no? She's slowly working her way, I think. Oh, she is. Check it out. Here, I'll relocate. We can both sit in that same seat. If you have some ideas, hon, you sing out with them, okay? So,
Sure.
This has, by the way, been an awesome little getaway with the missus and myself. Yes or no?
Yep.
Granted, it's a working trip. Continues to be a working trip, but...
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, well, I don't want to kill the view in the back, so...
Okay, I'll be right here.
Will you be right here?
Yep.
Hey, you're in shadow, so you like that?
Yep.
So you're kind of in shadow, secret. Your philosophy vids have become my favorite thing to tune in for the project. Not to say that the tabletops haven't led to multiple purchases. Recently, a 4.7's Preon 2. This is going back a bit. But recently, if a vid has low views, your work is appreciated. I love the Honeyville and bike vids. When heading out of the house, SAWC determines what I carry. Size and weight constraints. Thank you. Is it Jessica? Yep. Happy to be continually evolving into a sheepdog, and yes, I would pass a no-notice gear check. 2 questions I have for you. What experiences have you had with individuals with dependency problems? Boy, that's a good one. Dad hasn't been in the picture much because he's an alcoholic. He's really into surf casting, which I know nothing about. Any suggestions on how I can strengthen my relationship with him? Second question. I was in a car accident and haven't driven since. That was a year ago, and I feel completely pathetic. Last suspect has the attitude I wish I had. Of course I'll drive again. I'm not an incompetent driver. The fear is over things I can't control, like other motorists. Intellectually, I get it. Depostification, dangerous things, fear no evil. I've rewatched many times. Please advise me how to get over my fear. I'll include my contact information. So I'm going to fold that over. You don't see it. And there's Jessica's letter. First up, dependency problems. I have thought about this question a lot, and I actually have a friend that is a counselor in dependency problems, Brock. I was talking about him. And I actually bounced this to him, and he brought back to my mind something that's very, very important, is there are a lot of organizations that help and assist with dependency problems, and you cannot do it without help. I think AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is an inspired organization. I think that, what does it have, 10, 12 steps, something like that?
I don't even know.
Are inspired. My sister was an alcoholic, and I have gone to AA meetings to support her. And so I've sat through them, and it's really good. But one of the very first things the individual has to do is acknowledge they have a problem. If a person says, hey, I don't have a problem, I'm good to go, then you really can't go anywhere from there. How you get them to that stage is a hard question. I don't know. There are such things as interventions that you can do with your family and friends to that it's not just you confronting this individual, in this case your dad, saying, listen, you have a problem, but it's other people, maybe friends, maybe coworkers that know him. If he's retired though, someone he knows. Is that the best approach? I don't know. I do know that you cannot do it alone. That's the message I want to send out there for people who have dependency problems. He can't do it alone. It is a very, very powerful thing when it grabs you, whether it's a drug addiction, alcoholic addiction, any other addiction can control your life, and you're no longer free. That's what you need to understand about any addiction. It doesn't, again, matter what it's for. You're not free. You're not free to make your decisions. Your whole world is consumed about getting satiated from your addiction. Do you have anything to add? That's what it's about. I'm going to angle it down
That's good.
just a little bit so you can see the misses a little bit more. That's a little bit better. Get help. He has to acknowledge the problem. We could, again, I'm already into this pretty deep, this series. Next up, you say, how do I get back in the saddle after an accident? You start small. That's how you do it, because you have to regain your confidence. Well, I have gone through this in a very small scale many years ago when I totaled my mother's RX-7. Hello! I was with Jeff Crow, my friend, going around a corner. It was raining. We're in Alabama. And I go around the corner, and the tires give way, and off I go. And I crashed right into the middle, well, into the top of a tree off a pretty steep embankment, and crashed the nose down into the ground. The car was done. We weren't hurt. We were totally strapped in. I may have told you the story before. I had just told Jeff to put his seatbelt on. I was like, let's strap in. And I'm glad we did. If not, we would have been jacked. Walked away from the car, though, and I was like, I was scared about Mom and Vernon because my stepdad at the time, I was really scared. I walked all the way back. That's a long story. But what I learned from it, get better tires. That's what I learned. And if you're limited by your gear, drive accordingly. If you're limited by, getting back to your question, Jessica, by your confidence level, drive accordingly. How's that? So work back to it slowly. For our son, last suspect, he had a pretty serious motorcycle crash on a Suzuki SV650, totaled the bike, jacked his leg up, titanium in his leg forever. He's decided he's not riding motorcycles to this time. There was a time when he came back, he's like, hey, I'm going to ride. And then as a family, we just said,
Well, because we got him a bike and he was riding, and then he just felt like his leg wasn't strong enough to hold him up. And then last year, so 2 years after the accident, he'd had tons of pain in his leg off and on for 2 years. And when we took him to the doctor to get it checked out, because he just thought he needed all of the screws and plates taken out, they said, well, what are you doing in 3 days? And then they went back in. His ankle was falling apart. So they had to put some tightrope wire through it and pull it back together. And so for the moment, he's decided not to drive anymore.
he does miss it, though.
He does. He would rather have an ankle than...
Because if he has another major crash, it could be a situation where he doesn't walk the rest of his life. True or false?
Yeah.
So, as a family, him, and for some other factors that we're not going to go into, made the decision he's not riding again. But when he did come back, we started off small. We weren't doing canyon rides at, whatever speed. We're doing small. And as a vehicle driver, start small. Maybe in a controlled setting. If you can, a parking lot, do loops, go out with a friend you trust, and take it easy. Ease back into it. And then, honestly, millennials these days, more and more, are not owning cars. There's a lot. That's like, I'm reading automobile magazines all the time, and that's a recurring theme that they're really scared that millennials are using Uber, they're using public transportation. They don't want the expense, the hassle of owning a car. My point in bringing this up is that there's ways to get around without owning a car these days. It's a modern era. We Ubered yesterday. Uber's cool. I like owning vehicles. I like absolute freedom of my own vehicles. I come and go when I want. I love the performance factor of vehicles. Driving the 458 Italia yesterday was a rush. That was cool. Watch for the video. It's a handful. That 458 is a handful. But there's other ways. So start small and drive with someone that you trust. I spend a lot of time on that one. Those are two great questions. Thank you, Jessica, for writing in. Next up we have, after Jessica, Chance Drape, age 19. He's a dual sport motorcyclist. He wants to know how to pursue an LE career. He wears all the safety gear, and he's from Ford, Kansas. Here's a photo of him, dude. Speaking of motorcycles, speaking of wearing safety gear, I wear everything. True?
Yep.
I mean, she rides with me still. We just did a ride, it wasn't too long ago. We're on the FJR 1300. I suit her up like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or the Michelin Man. This is all her protective gear. Dear Nut, and I've been watching your channel for some time now. I've spent lots of money on gear you've approved. I've never been disappointed. I'm 19 years old. I want to go into law enforcement. I quit my job at a farm 2 weeks ago. Now I'm working as a detention officer at the county jail. After 2 weeks, I know I will continue a career in corrections. After 2 weeks, I will not, thank you, Mrs. Nutton, not continue a career in corrections. I can't even carry a knife or gun. And the reason you can't is because they can take it from you. Even if you're some badass, they could still strip it from you. That's why they don't allow correction officers to be armed. There's a good reason for that, because they have historical precedents when they used to do it and it didn't turn out so good. I love the concept of emergency services and also being a volunteer firefighter and a first responder. I want to become a member of a SWAT team and or border patrol. I have always thought the military would be the best path to either agency. With that being said, I do not like how our government is being ran. This is prior to Trump coming in. But on the same note, I would love to join the Marines and go to fight ISIS, but our commander-in-chief, I'll skip that because this is ancient. I would be afraid of some things I may have to take part in as a SWAT officer. That's correct. So be careful what you ask for. I mean, we've covered this ground, so I'm going to go light on this letter because I don't know what it is. There was a span of years when everybody who wrote in was like, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a cop, I want to be a special operations guy.
Everywhere.
Hey, I said as much on the QTN, but this society runs on all types of occupations. That's one reason I put in lack of tradesman video. Like tradesmen are in short supply. It's an honorable occupation, but just put the cards out on the table. Know what you're asking for, and because it's not a video game, you can ask kids over there in Afghanistan. We've covered this before. Getting blown apart, coming back with no legs. If it was worth it. You know, I won't go along a big discussion. I think in a lot of ways it wasn't. What we've done over there, in Afghanistan, have we made any change at all? I don't know, dude. I would think long and hard about it. And you don't have to go the military route to be competitive for LE. You can go the LE route. So you just stay in LE, go through posts, get your schooling done, compete, and there's always competition, just like I mentioned earlier in the video about pilot training. And become an officer. Some guys start out at a lower echelon, like security guy, and then work up. Your thoughts on these things? I gotta press on. Oh yeah, I bought a dual sport motorcycle and enjoyed ventures you inspired me to go on, wearing all the safety gear, of course. So this is a while back. He's probably made some decisions. I hope it worked out for you. That's Chance. Next up, Travis in Texas. He's gonna ask about best soldier blade. Okay. I like this length of letter, dude, because we can go through them quicker. See this? And I'm just going to let the video run. This is going to be a single parter and maybe an hour and a half. If you guys want to know what QTN's about, it's going to post on B channel. Because I don't have the bandwidth. People aren't watching enough to watch on go on the A channel. Dear Nutnfancy, I've been watching your channel since I stumbled across it sometime in 2010. I have now graduated. I'm in my first semester at local college. I've always been fascinated with knives since I was little and can remember the day when I first got my first pocket, which was a Swiss Army knife that I got from a Victorinox shop somewhere when I was about 7 years old. I have recently been looking for a high-value knife like Spyderco or Benchmade. As of now, I carry Leatherman rebar, but it's a pain to get the blade out. Anyways, the reason I'm writing you is because my best friend has decided to join the Coast Guard and will be shipping out in January to basic. I'm sure I missed that deadline. Sorry. Yeah. So instead of buying myself a knife, I want to get him a good one to use. I've been looking at the Benchmade Griptilian, Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and that's about the top of my price range. What do you think about these? It's Travis Cole in Adkins, Texas. If you're willing to spend the money, you have a really good friend, you want to send him with a gift, he's in the military or LE, buy him a Benchmade Triage. There's my recommendation, Triage. Comes in black, comes in the orange, which we prefer. I think it has an N690 blade, a rescue cutter on it. It's not overly heavy. And if that doesn't suit him, then get him a Leatherman Charge TI or a Leatherman Wave and hand engrave it for him. It will mean more to him if you hand engrave it. Also, the all-around favorite soldier knife that I think every soldier should be carrying is a Spyderco Endura. I'm running them in HAT 40 steel and CDP 189, and it's a go-to knife for me. Put a zip tie on it, it auto-deploys out of the pocket. Awesome. There you go. Do you want to read some of these?
No.
By the way, we're sitting at different heights because I didn't know if she was going to come in to the video. She's like, I don't want to do it. So I'm glad she showed up.
I have the comfy chair.
So she's in the soft chair. I'm in the office chair. Okay, this next one. Should I read this one? This is Jay Gard. He's in Utah. And he writes for me to review the VZ 2008. He sends a picture of his gun. Right here. I won't read the letter for time. But he tells me the mods. He does, oh, dude, you like it? Please review it. I did. I reviewed the 2008. It's okay. The VZ, it's okay. It's the one I could get a hold of, which was a Century Arms version of 2008. I think the genuine 2008 would be better, but it was okay. Would I own one? No. Sorry. Wouldn't own one. Hello, TMP. I sent a PM about my upcoming visit to Salt Lake, but heard nothing back. I assume it fell in the mountain of correspondence somewhere. Yep. I want to talk about this. This is why I'm reading it. In my case, I've been a viewer since mid-2010 when I was off flight status for a medical issue. Been hooked ever since. I'll be in Salt Lake, Cottonwood Heights, Utah for 10 days for 2 weeks helping a coworker recover from an orthopedic procedure.
There's nothing.
Huh? Speak what?
I don't think there's anything questions on there.
No, he just wants to hook up. And the interesting thing is, I won't show it, but he gives a copy of his passport. He gives a copy of his license to show he's legit. He gives his amateur radio call sign. Thank you for wanting to hook up with me. And this guy is a professional for sure, no doubt. It's really difficult, in fact, pretty much impossible to hook up with guys coming through. First off, through written correspondence. I know that's what we prefer, but it's not very timely. As you can see, we will eventually get around to it. Listen, if the viewer's response on the A channel was a lot for QTN, it never has been, you would have a lot more. We'd go flowing through these stuff, but it's very light. And so you get intermittent, interspersed QTN episodes. It's just the way it is. It's all linked to viewer interest as a group. So people vote with a view. That's just the way it is. No apologies. That's the way it is. In other words, we don't get mail and go through the mail immediately. It may be a couple months, and then, hey, we're coming up to QTN, and we're traveling, and so we read it together and prep for it. So sorry I missed you. That's one issue. The other issue is I don't have time. I can't do my job. I can't do TMP. Can't be a good husband to her, be a good dad, and have bandwidth for it. You know how many dudes want to hook up? I'm talking like to hang out and do stuff, go shooting. It's thousands. I appreciate them all. It'd be super cool to do it, but I don't have time. True or false?
True.
It wouldn't. We talk about it. It's like, hey, it'd be cool to do it. It's just unrealistic. You know, maybe when I quit TMP, maybe then. We'll see. This next one is writing about you. Mrs. Nutnfancy's RA, rheumatoid arthritis. How's that going, by the way?
It's good right now.
She has issues. I mean, like 2 days ago, she could not move her neck hardly. She's like, oh my gosh, my neck is killing. And it will go on. Sometimes, I mean, she had a neck issue probably about a month ago, and it lasted a good, how long? A month, 30 days?
No.
She could barely move her neck.
It was about over 2 months. Yeah, I could hardly move it.
She gets hand issues, and if you know any of your family or friends that have RA, it's a horrible disease. She takes a ton of pills. We talked about that in QTN previously. And he's right. I have not known anybody. Or he writes, I have not known anybody with rheumatoid arthritis, so I cannot relate to your exact situation. As such, I will not tell you what you're going through. The thought of something like that happening to any of my loved ones makes me sick to my stomach just thinking about it. So while I can't have personal experience, my heart goes out to you and your family. I was very happy to hear that you are taking the time to appreciate life with her. That's sweet. That's exactly what we're doing right now. Right now. You bet you we are. You know, don't know how much is RA going to take off her life. The thing, and I'll just bounce back to letter. You have to balance everything in life. So a lot of people go, well, I'm going to save, and then when I retire, my job's done, then we go travel. It doesn't always work that way. I think we've covered that before. Your health can shut down unexpectedly. I mean, we know about her RA, but it could be me. Maybe there's something happens to me. Maybe I get killed and I'm gone and she outlives me. Live for the moment to a certain degree is my point. You have to get out and do things. Just like we're doing here. We're doing TMP work, but we're also spending time together. And I'm trying to put, multiple stones in the air, as I call it. So everything has a multiple purpose. So they get it for sure. I can only hope that Suspect and Doodle are able to find and make time to be with the both of you. Do they?
Yes.
Tell them about your boys, by the way, how much they love their mom. Go.
Oh, they're good to me.
That's all you're going to say?
No, they look
Once
after
again,
me.
I have to carry the
They talk
show.
to me. And now, when Doodle's gone, we call each other once in a while. Mostly probably me bugging him. But then he talks to me and he's my friend that I can complain to or whatever. Tell him the good and the bad, and he listens, and he's just a really good kid. If I need anything done at the house, when nothing's gone, he's there to do it for me. I don't even have to ask. He always sees the need, and he's always right in there taking care of anything and everything. Last Suspect, he's coming up. He was, the young immature kid for a while, but he's great now. He's away at college, and he calls me and always worried about what I'm doing. It was snowed a lot at our house last month, and I was out there shoveling.
Which I tell her not to do. That you say that, and why are you letting her shovel when she has RA? That's a family fight, is it not?
It is, but I
was like, don't shovel.
But
I'll do it.
I can't just sit back and watch people work. So as long as my hands and things are working, I'll do it.
That's something that we talked about last QTN on the Zodiac, is that we're project people, that we work. We don't like sitting around. We like serving. This is a perfect example. So here we are in the Bellagio overlooking the Vegas Strip, and we're like, we need to do QTN, man. Maybe some small way we can help people.
So he's good about calling me and checking in on me and helping me where I need to be helped also. They're great kids.
I lost my mother when I was 14 years old and never really took the opportunity to spend time with her and get to know her like I know I wish I had. This letter is not meant to bring feelings of sadness, but rather to show support and appreciation, not so much for the project, but more to your family. Thank you. You and your family set the standard for great human beings, and it is evident that every video where they make an appearance that there is a strong moral foundation it is built upon. I hope so. I feel like we definitely love each other. We're a very tight family. If only there is a way to instill the virtues of your family in other families, and this nation, at the very least, would be a better place. It feels like, did I do that right? It feels like I have so much that I want to offer you, and yet I don't have the means to show you the same support to your family that you have shown to others. You guys are real people, and it shows anytime we get to see you on camera. Thank you. I will tell you a few things about myself, and it will probably read like a third grader's autobiography. This is the only way I know how to write a fact sheet about myself. I'm only 27 years old. I live in a small townhouse with my girlfriend Jessica and our 6-month-old future mountain dog Spartacus the Great Dane. I have a passion for shooting, the outdoors, and riding. Currently, the only pistols in our household are the 2 Walthers, a PK380 and a PPKS, and our custom Remington R1. Even though I shoot better with my Walthers, I still love my Remington R1. There are a few rifles and shotguns here too. If desires were cast, then my firearms inventory would no doubt rival our own. As far as the outdoors, I live in Dover, PA, and the Appalachians are just a car drive away. My bike is a 95 HD Fat Boy with plenty of work done to it that my father handed down to me. Awesome. So he's a motorcycle rider as well. I wish there was some way I could meet you and your family so that I could show my support in person. Hey, you just writing in shows it, true?
Yep.
That, we feel it. I mean, when guys write in, and we can see the feelings you put in your letters, and it means a lot to us. I just hope that the next TMP meetup is with plenty of notice to schedule some vacation time and get a plane ticket. Although that gear check at Bass Pro looked like the one in Harrisburg. I don't remember which one that was. I hope this letter makes its way to your family so that you can receive the support that it brings. If it's okay, with your permission, I would like to pray for your family. Yes, we will take your prayers, and we are very grateful for them. Thank you. We are God-fearing people. We believe in God. We will never apologize for it. And yes, we try to have a good moral foundation. That's what it is. We're imperfect, though. I mean, we have fights, right?
Yeah.
Fights. She rails on me all the time. If I do something, don't think that she's some wallflower. She's not. She's very, very capable of standing up for herself. I think people look at us on camera and go, "Oh my gosh, dude, you're so dominant." Well, I have a type A, kind of a type B personality, but dude, she stands up for herself just fine. Don't worry about her. And we like cussing too, true or false?
Yeah, it's not great, but
we like it. Take that off your
it gets my frustrations out.
Yeah, it's kind of a...
If that's my vice, whatever.
Kind of like it. But if that's the only thing you're doing, dude, I'm saying cussing, you're doing pretty good, true or false?
Yeah.
We work on it. Some of it bleeds over to the videos. I actually would like not to make my videos have any bad words in it. But sometimes it's just funny, and I do it for more humor than any reason. Nothing fancy. I've been living in the Dominican Republic for the past year and a half with my wife as a service missionary for our church. I just came across your website recently and I have become a fan, especially of your counsel to parents on raising great daughters and sons. We returned to the U.S. and would like to meet you. I hope to go to work at Doug's Shooting Sports. That's a place on Redwood Road in the valley there. I hope you can stop by and say hi. Maybe I will swing by and see if you're working there. His name's Mike. Mr. Mike. I agree with your perspective and completely agree with what you said. I think he's talking about my How to Raise a Daughters. So Awesome Daughter Special. Let me stop right here. You guys like this question. She didn't know this coming. Do you wish you would have raised a daughter? Do you feel cheated that we lost Jade?
No.
She's a boy's mom. You have to know that about Mrs. Nutnfancy. She was just put together as a boy's mom. I want to angle this down. Sorry if my camera work sucks, but it is what it is.
I'm not princessy in any way.
No, she isn't.
Don't care
I love
about
that
shopping.
about Mrs. Nutnfancy.
I hate clothes shopping. I can't do hair.
How about the drama of raising girls?
No.
So your sister has
I'm not
3 girls.
I can't do it.
And I have to say they're pretty good girls, so.
Yep.
But there's drama. There's moods and swings, and that's when they're younger. When it gets older, I think it gets worse, like in their later teens.
Yeah, no, you have a good friend when you're older, but...
Yeah. So she doesn't feel gypped by not raising daughters. Is that a true statement?
That's true.
But if you could go back, would you? I would. I wouldn't mind raising a daughter. I think it'd be cool. I think I'd be a good dad to a daughter. I think the dudes coming to the house would be terrified of me, though. Especially if they knew about Nutnfancy. And there's dudes that know, like Last Suspect, his friend sent me a message. He goes, "Dude, your dad's Nutnfancy, right?" What did they say? I forgot what it was.
Oh, they want to know your rank.
Oh, yeah. They said, he's military, and they want to know my rank when I retired. By the way, yeah,
You're
Patriots.
legend.
Go
That's
Patriots. She's a Patriots fan, too.
Yes.
So, yes, I'm wearing this on camera. So, our teams are the Patriots, the Cowboys. I really wanted to see Oakland come up. So, I'd love to see Oakland have a great year. We'll be a fan of anywhere Tony Romo goes. If Brady ever bailed, we'll be a fan of that team. Garoppolo should stay in New England, by the way. I agree with your perspective. Said that, regrettably, this love of a father for his sons is rare today. Perhaps it's due in part to the transformation of America that we were promised in 2008, question mark? Yeah, true that. Suffice to say the family unit must be protected at all costs if we are to have a society that can continue. We have said that in the QTN. You want to solve the nation's problems, solve the family. Have a mom, a dad that love their children, that stay, that don't go bailing off. Have a mom and dad that are faithful to each other. Morality. Yeah, it will lead to a better country. It will alleviate all these problems. Apply the golden rule. If everybody applies the golden rule in this country, problems go away. Treat others the way you'd want to be treated. Be considerate to your fellow man. Also look at buying a dual sport bike. I've watched all your videos and enjoyed the GoPro videography. I love to bend your ear with questions about bikes and selections for new and old riders. Thanks again for your commitment to excellence, for your service to our country. You're welcome. We have both worn the uniform of our country, and we both value the flag and what it means. You got that right. Notwithstanding our CI commanders-in-chief failure to recognize the same values. That was when Obama was in. A dual sport motorcycle. At this point, I have the KTM 1190 video done. It will post pretty soon. I did film it last summer. So I've sat on it. I mean, I'm really trying to push a lot of gun content through and play catch up. Again, it goes back to votes. If things are digested quickly, you'll see a lot more content. I have to say that because people wonder. Did you want to say something?
No.
I just do the best I can. So the 1190 will post. The KTM 500 is already posted. The KTM 690 review has been posted. My overall recommendation to you would be the KTM 690. You cannot beat it. Cannot beat it. It's so excellent. Next up will be number... I got to read this one.
Oh, yeah, because he's older.
Yeah. He says, don't read on YouTube, but I'm not going to tell the world who you are, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. I've drafted this letter many times, but the question has always been the same. Should I have kids? I'm 6 months shy of my 39th birthday, and my wonderful wife is 29 years of age. Dude, you got a girl 10 years younger. Awesome. I like this guy already. We're 3 years apart. 3. I've been a correctional officer for 13 years and a SWAT officer for 12 years. My wife has also been a correctional officer for 8 years. Here's another correctional officer. I ask this question because I hear the same thing all the time. I love my kids more than anything, but I don't have any. I watch your vids with my family and your boys, and I see and hear your happiness. I'm afraid that I'm too old to do riding and shooting with kids to make any difference in their lives.
No.
This is nothing fancy. You're answering this one.
39, you're not too old. I don't
Listen
think.
to her.
Look at the way the world has gone nowadays. People are having kids later in life. They keep you young. They really do. And I'm kind of sad sometimes that my kids are grown now. I haven't even hit 50 yet, and I'm an empty nester. And I do miss those days. You get to everything's exciting. Everything exciting is exciting in life, you know.
Every
go
phase.
through all the new phases and stages and
Yep.
holidays and having them learn things and teaching moments, and
Seeing where we are. Keep going, hon.
it's fun.
If you really, really want them, have kids. You did get a late start, but it's pretty common these days. There's a lot of people starting late. Do the math. Look at your health. Do you have any health issues? It sounds like you want to be a high activity dad like myself.
I won't even be retired though by the time your kids are done with high school, so usually they're off on their own after high school doing stuff.
If you can bring kids in within like a year, I say rock on, man. You know, if you're like 45, definitely in the 50s, that's too old. Because then,
40's
when you're
okay for a dude.
yeah, but I'm saying 50. So like
Yeah.
if you're 50 and you have kids in, that means when your kid, you'll be
Yeah.
65 when he's 15. I mean, there's some people that can maintain health. I'm going to try to myself, but who knows? You know, because what you want to do in life is you want to consider the other person. I said the golden rule. It also applies to having kids, to your wife, quality of life. Because there's a lot of people, I think, that have kids very late in life because they want them. But they're not really looking to their own, in my opinion, looking to their own kids' needs. To have a dad that's there for most of his life. So if I have a child when I'm at age 52 and I pass on 15 years from now I have a kid who's not even through his teenage years and he's lost his dad, theoretically. I don't think that's the best thing. Do you?
No.
I think it's sad for the kid. So, like she's saying, 40 is, would you say that's a cutoff time?
No.
Give him a cutoff
I
time.
don't
This is
know.
not
I'm not
fancy.
going to give a cutoff time. I don't know.
It's just different, and a lot of it's heredity. What kind of genes you have, how young you are. If you're, because I know guys that are 70 that are out ripping it in the canyon on road bikes, both motorcycles and bicycles, and they stay in shape, they eat right,
Careful, that's what you're eating for dinner.
kind of like that. We're at an hour already, so I can only do one more. Let's see, which one am I going to do? Okay, I'll read this one. So this is the next one, 18. This is going to go down to Australia. This is from Gareth Williams from Queensland, Australia. He's going to talk about being a gun convert and which lever actions to do. Gareth Williams. I've been a big fan of yours for a number of years. After discovering a knife review and following on from there, developed the sickness. Unfortunately, the knife addiction that resulted from my subscription to your channel has been hard to break. We also have watch addicts now, so I'm doing watch reviews. I'm hearing a lot more about, oh, guy, dude, thanks. I'm spending money on watches. Dude. Hey, man, it's all the same, really, whether it's a knife, a watch. A lot of these things, by the way, if you don't like them, you can always sell them on the secondary market and sometimes get your full money out of it. You really can, whether it's a watch. Right now, I'm just rocking an Apple Series 2. So it's nothing special, but there you go. So they're actually kind of investments you can enjoy for a while and then pitch them if you want. I'm getting it under control now, but only because I want to move back into owning and shooting firearms. Again, this guy's in Australia, Gareth. Back in 1994-5, I got my firearms license, purchased a Diana side-cocking air rifle. Those are pretty excellent, by the way. I've shot them before. My dad and I would sit on our back porch and shoot paper targets tacked to an old tree stump. The laws were much more relaxed then, and with 5 acres to shoot on, no neighbors at the time, things were very fun and casual. Then the Port Arthur thing happened and everything changed. As I'm sure you can appreciate, living in Australia now brings with it some distinct issues when it comes to owning firearms thanks to licensing and regulations. For example, we can own a pump-action centerfire rifle, a Remington 7615, for example, 10-round magazine, but I can't import the Troy PAR, pump-action rifle, because it looks too much like a restricted semi-automatic or black gun. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know all about Australian gun laws. They're awful. Back in 1986, when everything changed, and being 19 at the time, young and impressionable, I opted to sell my rifle and let my license lapse. I turned off on guns and became surprisingly anti-gun. Then I watched your Fear No Evil video. I was almost turned off on TNP. But there are two sides of every argument, so I sat and listened to some American gun nut in the hope that I could better arm myself intellectually against the crazy pro-gun arguments. That's pretty funny. So you were anti-gun at the time, then you watched my Fear No Evil video, and you were gritting your teeth watching like, I'll listen to this guy. And I listened, he says, and I had a good long think. Now I'm extremely outspoken in my pro-gun views. Thank you. It turned me around, what Gareth in Australia writes. Again, being armed and carrying guns, to me, is part of the golden rule, is that you are prepared to, number one, be the ultimate decision maker in your destiny, and also being prepared to help others if and when you were ever in the presence of an active shooter. I've said that a lot. So to me, it's part of serving humanity, being armed. It's not going around looking for trouble. It's actually doing quite the opposite, hoping it never finds you. But if it finds you, just like a car accident, you have your first aid kit. And we've read that on the camera before, QTN. Guys that had their level 1 kits, level 2 kits, and they help. You're ready. And you have to do what you have to do. You'll look left and look right. No one else is going to do it. You'll have to do it. My views have cost me some acquaintances, not friends, and led to some very heated but intelligent arguments with family and friends on the benefits of firearms and why we need concealed carry permits here in Australia. Now, finally, I'm in a position to go for my firearms license and get my first centerfire rifle, and this is where you come in. My philosophy of use is this. I like that he rolls that in. Because he's thought about it. A rifle that could be used for WRL, hunting, and general fun shooting targets. Top of the list seems to be a lever action rifle, primarily due to the fast cycling rounds, but also due to the fun factor. Eventually, I'd like to get a bolt gun and do that long range target shooting thing, but lever action would be better for the POU. The obvious downside is comparatively slow reload speed compared to a magazine fed bolt gun. This is a trade-off I'm willing to make. Actually, I'd say the opposite. I think a lever action is going to be quicker than a bolt gun, at least for short to medium range. I don't think I shoot bolt guns relatively fast. I like to cycle the bolt super fast. And on some tabletops, that's where problems come in, because I see the gun like a Remington 700 not eject properly and it's dicking up my technique. And I'm not doing it to be cool. What I'm trying to do is cycle it very quick and get back on target. The lever action, if you're shooting from a rested position, will be slower actually, because you're bringing that lever down, you're bringing the gun up. That is a valid point. But if you're doing just off the shoulder shooting, lever action will dominate. For medium range, lever action will dominate. I've done a search of lever action guns on your channel, and there are surprisingly few reviews for lever guns other than 22s. I did watch your Marlin SHOT Show video from 2010. You showed a lot of excitement towards some of their range, but I haven't seen anything come of it. This is why I'm writing you. Okay, I got all in there just for time. He wants a lever gun review. I do have definitely one centerfire coming up. I did review the 308 BLR. To answer the question, hey, lever action gun reviews, where are they? It goes again back to audience interest. Sorry, that's just where it's at. Because when I posted the lever action review on the BLR 308, it went, nobody watched it. And so what that tells me is there's not a lot of interest. Is guys don't like old-fashioned firearms. They like tactical. They like black tactical video game related firearms. Or is that? That doesn't mean that's how I feel. I mean, I tell you that the channel is going to intersect where our two interests, cross paths. So I've done some older gun reviews, not a ton. M1903 is out there. The Enfield is out there. The Garand, the carbine's out there. M1 carbine, I'm saying. I definitely have one other centerfire rifle lever action review coming up. I may do more. And it just depends. It just depends. There's a lot of factors in play. I just wish they'd be digested quicker. I'm right now sitting on, true or false, Mrs. Nutnfancy, probably 20 gun reviews where the testing's complete, that I could go post-production within half a day, get it out there, boom. Yes or no?
Yep.
If you're on the B channel, you're pure gold, man. And that's where this video is going, to B channel. And I plan to use QTN more frequently here on the B channel. Because, it's less of a factor, because the audience, at least the subs, are a lot less on the B channel. They're usually double or triple owls, for one. I'm going to start using it more. And I'm less concerned about how many votes a video gets on the B channel. So it is what it is. On the A channel, I'm more concerned about it because the audience potential is much higher. It's 700,000 coming up on their subs. I wish more people would sub that watch. They don't. But so I consider the whole audience content that they want, content that I like. Is what it is. I mean, the more you watch, the more you get. I've always said that. Mm-hmm. That's it. Mrs. Nutnfancy, and our room. I've got to detach this thing somehow. Mrs. Nutton has super loved this trip. True or false?
Yes. Loved it.
The window's dirty from the desert dust with the sun coming through, but looking down on Bellagio. I'll roll in some footage of other stuff we took on this trip. This has been QTN. Thanks so much for writing in. P.O. Box is in the description below. It's probably been running in banner somewhere along the way. Keep watching. The adventure continues. The life philosophy continues. See you later.